Yo, what's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to be doing Voleur from HackTheBox. This is a box sort about solid medium. And yeah, let's get on to the video. As always, I'm starting by putting my terminals here. I'm starting by pinging an IP address. We'll do ping count for 3, for 10, 10, 11, 76. We get a response back from the server. So we're running mmap scan. So we'll do mmISSC for default scripts as a enumeration. Let's count ports on IP. Doing this, I'll do minus v verbose. We do have a couple ports open. I already did run an mmap scan, so I'm just going to add more into nmap.txt. Port 53 open for DNS. We have port 88's open for Kubernetes, 35, 39. Open for SMB, 22, 22. Open for SSH, LDAP for enumeration. And it seems about it. So I'm going to start by checking for SMB since we do have SMB. So I'll do SMB client. We'll do -L so we can list out the shares for 10, 10, 11, 76. Doesn't seem like this works. We can do a -N for no authentication. And it doesn't seem to work. We'll try the same thing for SMB map. We'll do -H for 10, 10, 11, 76, -U. We do have credentials here for that was given to us. We can do this for Ryan Naylor, as well as that password. Press on that. And here we do get access denied for 10, 10, 11, 76. And we don't have access through SMB. Since we do have credentials, I'm going to start by doing an in packet get TTG. So we do a get GTG. This will allow us to grab a ticket from the principal and output a ticket for us since we do have credentials as that user. So I'm going to specify the domain. We do have the domain under my /c hosts. So we have voleur.htb. Specify Voleur. You'll see it's following the syntax here for the user, for Ryan Naylor. Specify a semicolon and also that password as well. Do Control-L, press it on that. And now if I run a file command against Ryan, you'll see that this is data for the data type. And also you cat it out, you also see for, if I grep out this for head, you'll see the header as well for Voleur.htb, Ryan Naylor. You'll see the same syntax for the ticket. So we'll do this for crackmap exec. We'll do crackmap exec for SMB for specify the domain controller for DC Voleur.htb. We'll specify -U for that user. Specify the user -P for the password. Press it on that. It should not work. However, if we do specify the -K for the ticket, doesn't seem to work. Let's specify that we'll just try to export this KR. I believe we have the variable name, which is KRB. I think it's KRB for the name. If we do an export KRB5 CC name, I think is the variable for exporting the ticket. KRB5 CC name. You'll see we have the CCV name for the file. So we export, we equal this to Ryan. We have the domain controller. Specify for SMB. Press it on that. Doesn't seem to work for the domain controller. We'll try this for Voleur.htb. Doesn't seem to work. Let's try this for NXC maybe. Maybe NXC accepts for the ticketing. I don't think crackmap exec accepts it, but we do have NXC that does work. Also, I believe you can do it also net exec as well. Net exec works. However, depending on versions, you'll get that. So now that we do have credentials, we have a valid ticket with this specified for Ryan, or for the user for, we'd have it for Ryan Naylor. We get started by using Bloodhound. So I'm gonna do Bloodhound, we'll do -Python. I'll do -help. Doing this, I like following the syntax from top to bottom. So, but first starting with the username and also the password. So we'll do -U for the user for Ryan. Let's close this out. So we have a Ryan Naylor, specify the password. Next, we want to specify the NS for 10.10.11.76 for the name server. We'll specify the domain, which is going to be for, we have voleur.htb. Delete the domain controller. We have Voleur, and then we can specify -C so we can get all like groups, GPOs, and all this stuff. And we can specify --zip. So this will go into Active Directory and grab all through LDAP and get all the information that we need for Bloodhound. So I'm going to open my second terminal. I do have already the terminal split for my VPN and also for the Docker container for Bloodhound. So I'd like doing Docker container or Docker compose for up. And this will start up our container on port 8080 or Bloodhound, right? 127.0.0.1 localhost on port 8080. We'll wait for that to load. Go back to our first screen. And we have our zip under here. I believe I did this on the second screen. 127.0.0.1 on 8080. And we have Bloodhound. So I'll log in. Seems like our password has expired. I'll just do this for admin. Same password I do have. Update. And we're successfully logged in. So I'm going to go to administration. We want to go to database management, delete all this since we don't need it. Go delete. Go to file ingest, and now we can upload files. So I'm just going to go to folder and get this .zip file. This will ingest it and give us all the users and groups under Active Directory for Voleur. So I'm going to go back. We do have, we did enumerate for shares. We can do minus shares to see what shares we have using this ticket. We do have some shares. So you'll see we have admin, C, HR, as well as IT. These are all read. So these are probably just default shares on the domain, on the server. We have IT, we can probably access IT, and also probably just IT. HR is probably going to be no access. And then we have IT, it just says read, right? And these are just default for net logon, sysvol, and also IPC. So I'll use SMB client. We'll do SMB client we'll just do -L. Or can we specify, actually we can't use SMB client since it doesn't accept the ticket. So we're going to be using inpacket. We'll just do this under here. We'll do inpacket for SMB. We have SMB client minus help. We have the same syntax for DC. So voleur.htb. We have that user as Ryan. We'll do semicolon specified by the password. So we can get login successful. We don't have, we can specify -K, I believe, for the ticket. We have -K for Kubernetes authentication. Do -K. So instead of specifying the username and password also with the ticket, I'm just going to specify -K for simply specifying the ticket for the domain controller. And we get a list of commands that we can use. So I'm going to do help, do ls. You'll see that we can, we do who, we have info for that. We did see we had the IT, so we can use IT, We do ls. We have first name, I'm going to copy the directory. We do ls. We do pwd, we're still under there. Do ls. And we can get this access review.xl sheet. Excel this. We'll see if I can open this within. If I go under my GUI, I'll go to open folder. Voleur. We have this access Excel sheet, which is not accessible. Let's see how we can open this open Excel sheet. I believe I always forget the command for it. We can we have LibreOffice. We have the only John, right? We can also use XDG open. I know I do have XDG open on this machine. And it doesn't seem like you can open this file. Since I need to open this file, I'm just going to apt install, I believe it's LibreOffice, which we had. LibreOffice. So I'm just going to apt install this. I'll let this install and we can, we don't have enough space under archives. So I'll just remove -r for the archives. Apt install. Actually, I'm just going to clear this out later on, but since I don't have, I'll transfer this to my own machine and I'll use Office to John for now to see if we can actually crack this. So this is file for access. We'll see that this turned into a hash. We'll turn this to hash.txt. We can use John to crack this. Minus word list is equal to user share word list rocky.txt for hash.txt. We can wait for this to run. And there is a password protected on this Excel sheet. So I'm going to transfer this to my Windows machine and we'll open this on, we'll see what kind of information is under this access review. So now we're on the Windows machine. I'm going to put in the password as football1. And we do have some notes here for this Excel sheet. So we have Ryan Naylor. We have a user that was deleted. The password as nighttime pigeon, and this was deleted. We also have SVC backup, LDAP, WinRM. And I'm going to copy, what I'm going to do is copy all this. I'm going to copy all this information, put this back on my note, on my leaf pad, and we'll see what we can enumerate with these service accounts, as well as we still have Todd Wolf on the machine or within the Active Directory. So just copy that and we'll go back to the Linux machine. So now we're back on the Linux machine. I did copy all the info from Excel to this leaf pad here. We had Todd Wolf, so we can search up for the user for Todd. So do Todd. We don't have anything under there. CMS for Wolf. We can look for SVC backup. We'll check for SVC backup. We do have an SVC backup. And also our credentials here to SVC LDAP and also SVC IIS, which is the administration for IIS. We'll go into this and we don't have any outbound object controls. We'll check for SVC LDAP. This one does have a password. So we'll go to SVC LDAP. We'll check LDAP. It does have an outbound object control. We'll go into zoom out a little bit here. Put this down. We have generic write. Okay, so looking at the structure, we have a write SPN to service WinRM, and also a member of, since we do have the password supposedly for this SVC LDAP, we can restore or be a member of restore and also do a generic write against Lacey Miller. So go to Windows Abuse. You'll see we can simply just add, or we can use bloody AD, but we can simply add ourselves to the group or set the password, or also even do it like a Kerberos attack to that. And we can add our, we can simply just set a password for generic write since we're under the group for restore users. So let's start by doing that. So I'll do, I'm just going to do a impacket. We did everything under here. Impacket dash get TGG. We want to change the user to SVC LDAP. If we check on, we have the user as SVC LDAP, so we want to copy this, but for the password, put in the password as well as the user, SVC underscore LDAP. If we can use -K for, or not -K, but we'll use -K for cover roasting with the ticket. I don't have targeted cover roasting, so we can search this up. I'm just going to get the targeted cover roaster, coverroast.py. This is all we really need. We don't need to git clone the whole directory. So just if we get the raw data, we'll do chmod +x for targeted cover roast. We'll do Python 3 for targeted cover roast. And now we do have all options. So I'm going to start by specifying -K. That's going to be for, let me export the ticket since we're going to be using this for SVC. We have SVC LDAP for the cache or CC cache. So Python 3 for targeted cover roasting. We'll do -K for the ticket. We'll do -dc-host, which is going to be dc-host is going to be the domain controller for dc0 we have Voleur or dc Voleur.htb. We do -u for svc underscore host or svc underscore LDAP, and then -d for Voleur.htb for the domain. And now we have 2 users here for targeted cover roasting. So these are just the hashes for those users we have for Lacey Miller, as well as for SVC WinRM. So looking back at Bloodhound, we have the SVC WinRM. We do have a write SPN. So I want to see if I can crack. We can crack this this cover roastable hash. So I'm gonna copy this. I'll put this into like, I'll make a new directory for SVC. We'll cd into SVC. We'll put this into hashes or hash.txt. Put that in there. We'll use John to crack this. We'll do John minus word list is equal to user share word list rocky.txt for hash.txt. And we do have a long password for this SVC. For this user SVC WinRM. We can just specify SVC underscore WinRM for his password. So now we can just copy and paste for his password. So I'm gonna use evil WinRM. So we'll use evil. There's evil WinRM -10 for, or -I for 10, 10, 11, 76. We want to use -K, or we actually need to specify the ticket, right? Since we don't have the ticket, we'll do an in packet again for get GTT. This time we'll do it for SVC. What was the user? SVC WinRM, and also for his password. There's password. Press it on that. So now we have everything within one directory for SVC. We'll do -select. We'll do evil WinRM -I for 10, 10, 11, 76. We'll do -K for the ticket that is under this directory. We can also specify it since we don't have it within the export. So we can specify it that. We'll do -R for Voleur.htb. Voleur.htb. Press it on that. We can do evil WinRM -I for 10. Actually specify the domain controller. -I, and we'll do specify -K. This is already specifying the variable for the KRB5 EC name, so we don't need to specify this again. We do -R, and of course it's going to be for Voleur.htb. Press it on that. We don't have that. Let's specify it directly maybe. So we'll establish the connection. We do L, we do who am I. We are under user for SVC WinRM for Voleur. So now we are under Voleur for SVC WinRM. I already have the command copied. This will restore the user for Todd Wolf, which we did see, which was deleted. So that means we can restore that user. I believe on the Excel sheet, where it shows account deleted, but on the Excel sheet, it just showed like a cross here. So it was deleted for like dashed out for this user for Todd.Wolf. And even if you, once we do restore the user, you can actually run a bloody AD one more time. And you'll see this on bloody AD, right? So we do have the credentials for Todd Wolf. I'm going to copy the, I'm just going to copy the user, but we can use NXC. NXC, we'll do this for SMB for 10.10.1176 for the IP address. We'll do -U for the user for Todd Wolf. Also specify -P for his password. We have his password that was in the Excel file. Press it on that. And hopefully it says status not supported. So we do need to use a ticket the same way we used the ticket for, I believe it was Ryan Naylor. So we need to request a ticket for him. So I'll make a directory for ticket, cd into ticket. I use inpacket. I believe we have inpacket, or if we do a get tgt, yeah, we don't have the command. So do inpacket. We'll do a get tgt. We can do minus help. This will just give us a simple syntax for domain, user, and also the password. So do voleur.htb, which is via the user. In this case, we have the user already for Todd.Wolf. And the same thing for his password. I like putting this in quotations or in double quotes for any syntax for the password. And we can press on that. So it says client not found. We'll try this for DC dot. So it doesn't seem like we're able to extract or get a ticket for the user for Todd.Wolf. So I'm looking at my terminals here. Since this is not working, I'm going to try a bloody ad.py. We'll try this for a GitHub. With the GitHub, we do have a set restore, I believe, for restore. We can just get this bloody ad.py. We're gonna git clone. We're gonna git clone this repository. Git clone. We'll cd into bloody ad. We'll do a Python 3 for bloody ad.py. And we can just do a pip install for requirements.txt. -R for requirements.txt. And we can just break this to make this system wide on my HackTheBox. And this will install all the modules that we need for bloody ad.py for that set restore. I hope there's no overlapping directories. If we run this should run now. Do we have a restore? And we'll find out right now by doing bloody ad. Let's find -host for the domain controller voleur.htb. Voleur.htb will do let's just find -d for voleur eur voleur.htb, and let's just find -u for the user for svc underscore, I believe the user was LDAP, svc underscore LDAP. So just find -p for that password that has the permissions for stat restore. Then we want to restore that Todd.Wolf. This will do the command for us, so we can restore it. We'll do -k since we do need the ticket. And so it doesn't seem like we're able to extract or get a ticket for the user for Todd.Wolf. I'm going to be using run as. So I do have I think I already have it under here. I'll do Control Shift O. We'll do ultimately. So I'll go into, we'll just make a directory for run as. Let's go to Firefox and we can get this run as .exe binary. I do have the run as binary, but it doesn't have for login functionality, or to do the reverse shell for like PowerShell .exe or cmd.exe. So I'm just gonna let's go to history. I'm gonna clear my history. Go to clear. So I'll do a run as. I believe is a run as CS for like a GitHub. Let's go to run as for these compiled versions. We have a run as cs.zip. Copy link. Do we get this onto my machine? Unzip this file. I'm not under this directory. I did make a directory as run as. I do nicely. Run as. Let me just keep everything within one directory. We do unzip. And now you'll have this run as cs.exe. So you can simply just use the upload functionality. Let me see. I'm under the Voleur directory, so we can do this under run as. And I believe my ticket is exported, so I can just, I don't have my ticket under here. Let me copy, I believe it was SVC WinRM to this directory. Run this people WinRM one more time. I should be able to log in, and now we can upload our run as cs.exe. So I like going under program data, like during any pen test, because nobody goes under here. Think of this like a dev SHM on Linux. Now we can upload our, I believe it's a tab functionality. So I can do run as cs.exe. And this will upload that file. We do dir. And now we have our run as cs.exe. So I'm going to run I'll do run as cs.exe. We have the syntax here, which we can look at. Let's look at the syntax. So we can specify user1, the password, and also cmd.exe. We'll specify this user1 under here. And I'm going to put this into my text editor. So we can have the command. And I already do have the command here. So I'm just going to copy this. We'll put this into run as cs.exe. This is probably going to, let's get my IP address for 10.10.14.185. So I have the same IP address, 10.10.14.185 on 9001. So we'll do all wrap netcat minus LMVP on 9001. And we can run the command one more time. We get a connect. And it seems like Todd Wolf was not found for that user. This is not working. I'm going to try a bloody ad.py. We'll try this for a GitHub. With the GitHub, we do have a set restore, I believe, for restore. We can just get this bloody ad.py. We're gonna git clone. We're gonna git clone this repository. Git clone. We'll cd into bloody ad. We'll do a Python 3 for bloody ad.py. And we can just do a pip install for requirements.txt. -r for requirements.txt. And we can just break this to make this system wide on my HackTheBox. And this will install all the modules that we need for bloody ad.py for that set restore. I hope there's no overlapping directories. If we run this, this should run now. Do we have a restore? Restore. And we'll find out right now by doing bloody ed. Specify minus host for the domain controller. For domain controller, voleur.htb. Voleur.htb will do a specify minus d for voleur eur. Voleur.htb, and let's specify minus u for the user for svc underscore. I believe the user was LDAP. svc underscore LDAP. Specify minus p for that password that has the permissions for stat restore. Then we want to restore that Todd.wolf. This will do the command for us, so we can restore it. We'll do minus k, since we do need the ticket. And let's press it on that. And we see that Todd Wolf has been restored. Just make sure it's restored. And then the object is not found since it is restored. We can run this one more time. Do Control L. Now this is running. We do who am I. Control L, who am I. And now we are under the user for Todd Wolf. So since we did see that the user Todd Wolf was under the IT, we can go into IT, Control do this for dir. Now we have the first line, second line, also a support. So I'm gonna go to the second line support. I'm just gonna CD, put this in quotations. The syntax is a little weird on Windows. We'll go to archived users. Same thing, do Control L. Now we have Todd Wolf, which is the user that we have access to now. We have access to this directory. Go to Todd Wolf, go to app data. And I want to start by doing a dpoppy. And it doesn't seem like we have it, but by default, we can go to Microsoft. Protect, do dir. And we don't have any of the files under here. So if I do a dir/a, this will list out all the files that we do have for all hidden directories. You'll see we have a SID, a specific identifier for like a user. So we can copy this. I'll just put this as under here. We can cd into this directory since it's a directory. We do dir, Control dir, and we'll also see that we have we can do this for dpoppy, which is going to be the master key, which will give us a username and also a password as well. So we do need to SMB client into this. I'm gonna do SMB client. This will allow us to go into that directory and get the file. You can also start up like a server on here through PowerShell, like a one-liner HTTP server, and then use wget to get that file. However, we can just simply use SMB client to connect to it. So I did use the copy command for connecting to my share. So I specified the file that I want to get, which is the file that we do need. Also, we have the SID here, which is already in the directory name. One file was copied. You'll see that the file is not copied. I use Impacket SMB server to get it. I couldn't get a ticket since I don't know, user Todd does not allow for requesting a ticket, so I couldn't do Impacket SMB client, right, or Impacket for SMB. So I just create a share for the directory that I wanted for SMB2 support for the user and also the password, and I got a callback. We can X out of here. Now we do have that file on our Linux machine. So now that we do have that file on our Linux machine, I want to start by using Impacket for dpoppy. It's going to allow us to specify the file for the file and also the SID, and specifying the password that allows us to get that MD4 protected decrypted key, which we can get specified just from this file. So I'm going to specify minus SID, which is going to be for the SID. You know that we have the SID within the directory, so we can just copy this for the SID. we do a minus password, and we specify the password, which was within the Excel file. You press it on that. We don't have the file, the SID. So we can go into Microsoft credentials. If we do dir, we should have we don't have credentials, but we can go to credentials. We can dir in here, and now we do have that file as well. So now we can use, I'll copy this into my text editor. So make sure we do have that decrypted key. I'm going to be using one more time for SMB server. And we have the same thing for the file that we want to get. So I believe we need a copy for 77, which you can just copy that file, 77. And once we have that copied, we can do the same thing for that copy or the net use for the share. I think if we do Control-Shift-O, do we have that file? We should have the file now. So basically just copying, right? We just use the copy and this will copy the file. And now we have the file under here. So now I'm going to do impact depopy. We do credential minus file for 477. We do dash key. And we can get our decrypted key. Press it on that. And now we have the user as Jeremy Combs and the user for unknown. So now we can start by running a Bloodhound and we can see what under permissions we have for Jeremy. So I'm going to start by getting a ticket as Jeremy Combs. I want to see what user he is under. I'm just going to X out of here. We'll do Y. We can X out here. We'll just do this for making a directory for Combs. And now we have his username and password, and we're going to be using impact get TGT. We can do minus help. Simply be the same thing, user, domain, user, and password. So we'll specify the user or the domain. So it's voleur.htb. We have the user, which is going to be for Jeremy Combs, specified by the password. And we can press it on that. Now we have the ticket as Jeremy. We can export the name to Jeremy. And now we have this exported to Jeremy. So I'm going to start by running Bloodhound so we can get the structure of Jeremy to see what groups he is under. So do Python. So we do Bloodhound Python -u for Jeremy Combs. We have his username and also his password. We'll do -k -ns for 10 10 11 76 for the name server, -c for all, -d for the domain. Voleur.htb. We'll do -c and then we'll do -zip. Press it on that. While that is getting the .zip file, we will go to database management, delete, go to explore. Seems like it was compressed. We got an error, but we can still upload files and see what we get. Get this bloodhound.zip. We can upload this and see what we get. Now I'm going to go to Explorer. This is now done. We have the user as Combs, right? As Jeremy.Combs. So we'll search for the user for Jeremy. Go to about object info. Go to member of. We got member of remote management, domain users, third line technicians. So first it was privilege escalation to first line, second line, and also for third line now, which we have for permissions for Jeremy. So I'm going to be using Impacket. We already have his ticket. We can use Impacket SMB client, specify -k for domain controller for Voleur.htb. Press around that. And we can do a ls or use IT since we had the share as IT, ls. And now we can cd into third line support. Before we had to use, we had to get a shell, but now since we have the ticket, we can get a ticket as Jeremy, then now we can get this ID underscore same. So I believe it was we can use mget for all the files. So downloads the 2 files for node.txt. Cat the node.txt.txt, and we have enough of a Windows backup. We have WSL, so we can utilize backup tools from Linux. And we have the user as admin. So I'm clear my terminals. I'll do a chmod 700 for ID underscore state. We did have port 2222 open for SSH. So do SSH for svc underscore backup at voleur.htb. Do port 2222. And press on that. Do yes. We do need a private key, so do ID underscore say. We'll do a backup. Control L, press on that. Redo ID, and now under SVC backup. So I want to be checking under /mount. Doing the mount, we see that this is under /c, so we have this for mount C. We'll do -LA. We also have that IT directory. So we can do -LA. We'll go into the third line support. -LA. Go to backups, -LA. And we have 2 directories, one for Active Directory and also one for backups. So under here we see a Active Directory. We do have the ntds.dit, which we can grab. Also, we have a registry as well, which we can use for the system. So I'm going to use SCP to transfer this to my machine. Or I can just do Control-Shift-O. We're all under combs. I want to start with under combs. So we'll do SCP. We'll do -I for ID underscore say. We'll specify -P for 2222 for the port. SVC underscore backup at, I believe, we can just specify the IP address for 10.10.11.76. And I believe it's semicolon for what we have for the path. So we do a PWD. PWD, we'll find this under for registry. And we can do a -R for registry, and then it's also for backups. And we can do a -R for recursive. Press around that. Backup. We can specify to this directory. Do yes. And hopefully we can download everything. Backups. Mount C IT third line support. We have this under backups, I think. Backups, so we can do recursive against backups. Yeah, so we want to do this against backups. We'll take this off. Hopefully we can download files now. Backups. And this would download the files under /backups. So we need to do it under recursive for not the files or not these files, but under the main directory, the base directory for backups. So we can download this. So we'll just X out here. We'll go into combs. I'm going to start by using Impacket so we can dump out the secrets. Then we'll do a system, and then we're going to specify that system file, which we did have. If it is done downloading, we'll do -LA, and we can go into, let's go into backups instead. And we can copy, let's go into registry, copy this system back. We'll just copy everything within here. So we'll copy everything. And we also need our NT edit, or let's go into registry and then also our Active Directory. I'm just gonna copy everything under here and put this back. So now we have everything within one directory for our system, our ntds.dit. And that's basically all we need. So I'll do in packets for secret dump. We specify a system for the system. Specify security for security, and we'll do ntds for ntds.dit. And we'll do this for local. So now we have the user or the hash for administrator. We can start by requesting a ticket. I'll just do this under here. For Combs, we'll make a directory for ticket underscore admin, cd into ticket underscore admin. We're going to do in packet get tgt. We can specify minus help. Just lets us have a clear view of what options we can use. We can use a no-pass. Also specify hashes for the hash. So we know we can specify semicolon for the hash. It's going to be for administrator. As specify for voleur.htb, eur.htb. Next, we do have the username. It's going to be for administrator. And followed by, we're doing the password. So we can save that for administrator. And now we do have the cache for administrator. If we do like a key list, you'll see that this expires 11/4/2025, which is tomorrow. And this is a ticket for administrator. So now I'm going to do a in packet psexcc. This will allow us to simply do an SVC manager binary, execute it, and get administrator. We'll do a no-pass. I'll do a hashes for, or we can do -k instead of the no pass. So I'll do no pass instead of hashes. Do okay, and then now we're going to specify the administrator or the domain for Voleur ur.htb. Username, we have administrator. And we don't have a password, but we can specify 10.10.1176. Let's delete the administrator, see if that works. Let's export we'll do this for administrator. We can export with IP address. Doesn't seem to work. We'll try with administrator only. Let's try at dc.voleur. EUR, maybe you want it like this. Press around that. Gives us high domain controller, SVC manager. Now we can go under users, do dir. Let's run this one more time. CD into /users, dir. Now we should have administrator, Jeremy Combs, CD administrator, dir mode. We have our desktop, which we do have our root.txt in here. So we can cd into desktop, dir mode. We can type our root.txt. Well, guys, been from the video. Don't like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.